In the Pokemon universe, every single Pokemon is created by Arceus, the god of all Pokemon, and the highest tier Pokemon are known as legendaries. These are Pokemon with a specific purpose in the universe, with some of them bringing peace and a lot of them bringing chaos, but they all had a plan in mind when being created. But there are a select few of legendary Pokemon that weren't made by Arceus, but were actually man-made. So I wanted to go over every single artificially created legendary Pokemon to see how they're holding up today and what their purpose is in the overall Pokemon story. Mewtwo is the first man-made legendary Pokemon that we are introduced to. This is a Pokemon whose story is pretty sad. The leader of Team Rocket, Giovanni, wanted an experimental weapon, so he funded the creation of Mewtwo, who is supposed to be a clone of the mythical Pokemon Mew. A group of scientists were trying to play a role of God, and one of the scientists, Mr. Fuji, wanted to find a way to bring back his dead daughter, so he was using Mewtwo as a vessel to practice cloning so that maybe he could clone his daughter and bring her back to life. Before Mewtwo was even conscious, he already felt a world of pain because he knew an image of Mr. Fuji's daughter, Amber 2, and 3 starter Pokemon. They were really good friends. The clones spent all day hanging out in this dreamlike world they were all connected to, and Mewtwo had a really kind heart and was really happy with the friends that he had. But everything was too good to be true, because in the real world, the bodies of the cloned Pokemon and Amber's consciousness were all fading away, which resulted in them dying in the real world and the dream world. Amber ended up saying goodbye to Mewtwo, but Mewtwo was all alone and only felt pain. It was actually so bad that his unconscious body was starting to destroy the lab that Dr. Fuji had to wipe Mewtwo's memories of Amber and his friends. And even though this was a temporary solution to calm Mewtwo down, he forgot all of his lessons of morality and became pretty evil. Like, this isn't a joke. The first thing this Pokemon does when he's born is blow up the lab, killing a bunch of scientists that made him, because he learned that he was born as an experiment just to be a weapon, and Mewtwo didn't want to live this life. This story is pretty similar across the games and the manga. Even in the Pokemon manga, Blaine is the one that put his human DNA into Mewtwo, and they have a pretty strong connection where Blaine's arm literally starts mutating when he's around Mewtwo, literally becoming a human GPS, being able to locate Mewtwo and share similar emotions to him. Even in the Pokemon Origins anime, which goes through Red's journey, at the end he does end up fighting Mewtwo and defeating him with Mega Charizard and capturing him in the end. But it's pretty clear across all of the Mewtwo's, he really did lack a purpose. He doesn't know why he was born, and the purpose Mewtwo tried to create for himself in the anime originally was to protect all the clone Pokemons only, since Mewtwo doesn't think it's right for clone Pokemon to be viewed as lesser. But I'll talk more in depth about this movie in a future video, so please be subscribed for that. It's going to be a banger. But nowadays, Mewtwo doesn't have any hatred for humanity and is actually spending his free time protecting Pokemon around the world, being a guardian, and sometimes watching Pokemon civilizations in the shadows. Like, seriously, every single time Mewtwo is lurking, he's just aura farming in the anime, which is a pretty nice conclusion for this legendary Pokemon, since he was born originally as a weapon, but now he uses his life to protect people. The main question people do have is, why is there multiple Mewtwo's? And I don't have the answer to that. The Mewtwo in the Genesis movie is not the same one as the anime Mewtwo. This one has way more of a feminine voice and can mega evolve at will, so I guess the blueprints for Mewtwo got leaked and more people can create him. And conveniently, speaking of Genesect, he is the next legendary Pokemon to be made by humanity. His origins begin in the Unova region, where Team Plasma was constructing a legendary Pokemon from a fossil. N is the leader of Team Plasma, and he wants peace for all Pokemon and for them to be liberated. So when he caught wind that some of his scientists were doing this project, he didn't really approve, since he didn't think Pokemon should be created for human purposes, and believes creating Pokemon this way will lose their purity. So he decided to cancel the Genesect project. Guys, I think it's finally complete. After months, no, years of working on Genesect, we have the first prototype. We actually revived a fossil Pokemon that can rival Mewtwo. And what do you think about this?
Hey,
Let's cut the shit off, bro.
I gotta
cut the shit the fuck off.
What is it?
But what is he doing?
I don't know. I really don't know.
A lot of the scientists were not happy that their leader did not approve of the project, and even though some of them abandoned it, other scientists still continued the project in secret. continuously improving Genesect and even added this cannon onto his back, and now he has the power to rival mythical Pokemon. Genesect also has these drives that are able to change the power of his cannon that you can get between either Pokemon Black or White, depending on the game version that you have. And in the Pokemon movie, they were able to make an army of Genesects running around, literally treating this Pokemon like a weapon, probably what they originally intended Mewtwo to be with Team Rocket. The most popular theory surrounding this Pokemon is that it was originally a Kabutops or some variation of it, considering the two of them have a very similar appearance, and Genesect was originally a fossil from hundreds of years ago and Kabutops is a fossil Pokemon. But the evidence for this theory isn't super strong, and I would just think they're more like distant cousins or something and not one-to-one revivals. But overall, the whereabouts of Genesect aren't exact, and it's probably roaming the region of Unova, trying to figure out whatever purpose it has on why it's created besides just being a weapon of mass destruction for Team Plasma. The next artificially created Pokemon is easily my favorite one, which is Type Null, and before anyone says it, yes, Type Null is a legendary. This Pokemon is so cool because it was created with an intended purpose. Basically, the Aether Foundation needed to find a way to defeat Ultra Beasts, so they went ahead and created their own Pokemon Type Null, who resembles a Chimera-like being, which is sick. I love Chimeras. And the coolest thing about Type Null is that he is made up of every single egg group Pokemon's DNA. Type Null is also one of the few legendary Pokemon that can evolve. In the Pokemon anime, it actually starts off as a Salvally, but there was an incident in the lab where an Ultra Beast was trying to take Lily, and Salvally ended up saving Lily, but one of the scientists was embarrassed on how bad the experiment went, so it put a muzzle over Type Null's head, turning it into the form we know today, and it's only able to evolve when it gets high friendship back to its original form, Salvally. Gladion is Type Null's trainer, and he does manage to evolve it into Salvally, and in the Pokemon games, it's pretty interesting because in the Galar region, we also see a few Type Nulls, even though there technically should be one, but they actually give us a reason for this. Somebody stole the original files on how to create Type Null, and they started reproducing the Pokemon, so now it's all around the Pokemon world, and there's more than just one. In the Pokemon anime, Salvally does complete its purpose by helping against the battle between the Ultra Beasts, and nowadays Salvally lives a peaceful life just hanging out with Gladion. The final man-made mythical Pokemon is Magearna, and this Pokemon's lore is pretty interesting. A couple hundred years back from the main Pokemon timeline, there was an inventor that was so powerful he ended up creating this soul heart and pieced together a mechanical robot known as Magearna. He gifted this robot to the princess of the kingdom to be her protector, and so that this Pokemon could just protect the kingdom in general, but the people feared this Pokemon and outcasted it, so the creator had to hide this Pokemon away in a far-off valley away from humanity, and Volcanion became its protector, keeping it away from humanity. In the Pokemon movie, Ash does end up seeing this Pokemon and making them realize that not all of humanity is so bad, but the main thing about Magearna's power is that the center of its chest can feel and understand humans' emotions, and the original design of this Pokemon looked more like a Pokeball, but now today it looks more rusted out. In the Pokemon Sun and Moon anime, there is a Magearna just chilling in Lily's closet, all rusted out, so maybe this is the same Magearna or there's multiple ones, but I'll leave that more up for you guys to decide. Overall though, it seems that every single Pokemon that was created by humanity ends up not trusting humanity, so maybe one day we'll get like a Pokemon Ultron to be made. But for now, if you want to know about Pokemon that were intended to be made by Arceus, click the video on your screen because I have the entire legendary Pokemon timeline right here.